I walk outside this morning and look at what I see sitting up against the Range Rover. It's like the mailman knew. That is right, it is the missing link to the Range Rover Camper, and hopefully we can get this guy going today. Welcome back to the Lost Cause Ranch. We're fixing the camper today. Hopefully. So that's right, that is what we were waiting on, our missing piece. I thought I had one of these in stock, but I only had our water pump gasket and front crank seal on hand. I had the newer style rubber one. If you haven't seen the last couple videos, Range Rover Camper, yes, this 1995 long wheelbase with a 76 Toyota camper on the back. When we sold the shop, went to start it up and move it, zero oil pressure. Went in, tore this guy apart, and I was expecting the typical broken gear. That was not the case. We just have a scored up gear. And now that we have this guy slammed back together, packed full of Vaseline, hopefully we're full on Amazon mode, and today is Prime Day. It'll be nice to be going back to a full gasket on this guy. I'm guessing someone pulled the front cover off at one point in time without removing the oil pan, and cut the gasket and just use some RTV. But we're gonna go one piece, full gasket, back to being right. Time to slam that guy back in. We got the front end pretty much all together. I need to go grab some more oil. Since I wasted it last time, we need to turn the engine over to get the distributor in correct timing. And I don't want to turn it at all until we have proper amount of oil in there, because I don't want to waste that Vaseline and have it not suck up oil. And then we'd be in the same spot. So why would I do that? So I just drove all the way out here to the local farm store. They got the Valvoline VR1 in stock. What'd I do? Forgot my wallet. It's a real Joe move. So, back home, and then back here. This guy might help. Got my arm full of oil now. Running out of a little bit of daylight here. Wouldn't have happened if some guy didn't forget his wallet, but we don't know who that was. All right, so that guy took about a half a quart. That's a half a quart less the oil pump has to make up right away. So we are going to stick the oil filter on, fill it up with oil, and I will wait until the morning to fire this guy up so you can see my disappointment in full light. All right, so we are back out here with the Range Rover. It is morning. By the location of the sun in the sky, you can see it's not like super early in the morning, but it's morning nonetheless. We just pulled a spark plug out of number one. Why did we do that? Well, we need to get the distributor back in, and we need it back in time. Maybe hard to see down there, but this guy, the crank pulley, has a pointer there and timing marks. But we need to make sure we are on top dead center on number one. So all I do there is throw something long in there, and we can see that we are, well, you can't. Now you may be able to see we are right at the top of the stroke with that. So we're on the correct rotation with the timing marks. All right, a little hard to see, but we are going to start off at about 6 degrees before TDC. I'm guessing we'll probably end up close to that yellow mark on the right-hand side there. The white mark is 0, and I'm guessing that yellow mark was placed by someone who timed this already. All right, so we got our distributor cap here, and there is the #1 spark plug wire. So we need the rotor to line up with that guy while we're putting it in. We're gonna get him out of the way though. That corresponds with this paint marker someone already has. So rotor pointing towards that, slap the distributor in, and we should be close enough to start the guy. After we start it and confirm that we have oil pressure, we will get the timing light out and dial this guy in, smoother out, but we need oil pressure first before we worry about the timing being set perfectly. I guess we should probably put this guy back in too. That might make a difference. We got our battery hooked back up. We are going to pull the fuel pump fuse once again and let this guy crank without firing up. And it's gonna work, right? I mean, 100% guaranteed. We don't have any concerns at all that this isn't fixing our issue. We have plenty of Vaseline packed in there. I'm gonna check the oil one more time, make sure that's all good. Filter is plumb full. I don't see what could go wrong. I mean, besides just not having oil pressure again, but I didn't put the fan back in yet because I don't want to put it all back together and jinx us. All right, so this thing should not start, but we'll crank it over. Put that guy back in. Woo! Look at that. Finally went away. And the lifters got quiet. Success. All right, now we'll get the fan on, pump her full of coolant, let it run for a little bit. Finally, we got a little bit of a win around here. We're gonna shut it back down, top the coolant up, put the fan on, let it run again. Vaseline and a new gear. It just needed a little bit of lube. Sasha thought she heard something. It's got a little bit of a mohawk. What'd you hear? Other than that annoying belt squeal, the camper sounds good again. Engine is still quiet. That's a relief. We don't have to LS swap this thing just yet. I was a little concerned when we pulled it apart, being we didn't have an actual broken gear and it was just scored up some, whether or not this would take care of it, but I think we lost prime originally. Now we're all primed up, lubed up, good to go, Vaseline in there. But I'm happy to see this guy back going. Time to sort out the camper end of it. Just had to make sure it can still put in a little work, you know. Sasha and I are both happy that this guy is going again. We gotta do some camping adventures next year without having to put an engine in it. Appreciate you guys watching. Happy to do some Land Rover work. We'll catch you on the next one. One thing before we go here, did any of you guys see this thing? This was at like a Canadian surplus impound auction or something, or export only. Yes, that is a 96 Discovery and appears to be an actual camel trophy one. This guy was up for auction. I was keeping an eye on it. I had a number in my head, and I guess thankfully it went past that, and this thing sold for $38,000. That's Canadian dollars. So what's that, like $20 in the US? Nah, just kidding. That works out to be about 28,000 US dollars. This thing would have been mighty cool to get. It was quite rough. Had been sitting there for 4 years. If any of you guys know the story behind this one, I'd love to hear it. Maybe one of you guys bought it. I was in it for about half that. I didn't know how getting it back to the US would have been. Well, time to pull this guy off the gravel. I actually have to use it. Not that, the gravel.